throughout the history of man. Oh wow, I have an echo. Wow, that's kind of cool. Throughout the history of man, we have achieved the impossible. Building the wheel, walking on the moon, climbing Mount Everest. And as this has occurred, humanity has evolved further, stronger, more advanced. But through this evolution, some excel further to achieve the impossible. Do you perhaps wonder what this site looks like? Well, allow me to show you.
Bonjour. To start making your game, you need a really good idea. For that, I'm going to be using flour. There it goes. So then what you're going to need is some filler missions to push it further and further from the base idea. These don't have to be inventative. If that's a word, I don't care. Add in some boring side missions just to, you know, lather it up a bit. Then just whisk it all up into a bowl. Once it's stirred up enough, just give it a little, you know, taste test. It's good. Now for my secret ingredient to make a Ubisoft game. They've got a few DLCs. You just throw these DLCs, season passes. Why not a gold edition? Throw it all in there. And then just to finish it off, just to soothe the pain. Put it in the microwave for roughly 15 minutes, and then you should be greeted by a lovely, fresh Ubisoft game. Time and shot.
So, I'm back. It's been a long time. I've been preoccupied. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. Can we give it a shorter name? Something easier to say? Yeah, Wildlands will do. Wildlands was released back in March and is the latest entry into the Tom Clancy series, being the 51st game, despite the fact that Mr. Tom Clancy himself only wrote 25 books. Oh, sorry, at least 14 according to Google.
Please don't judge, we only want love.
Whilst the books were highly popular for being some of the best military stories in fiction to date, the games have been lacking in the most recent years, turning instead to more open world and multiplayer style games. However, in the end, I decided to pick up the game. More so out of interest than anything to see if Ubisoft had learned their lesson. But had they? Well, we're about to find that out. So without further ado, let's get into... The game begins with you creating your own character. Already a major step up from the Division character customization. Just add this here, add a scar, and some clothing. This looks pretty cool. Let me just select that. Oh, how could I forget? It appears I need the gold edition in order to unlock that item. Already ticking some of the boxes there, I see, Ubisoft. And I'm done. It appears he never was the same since the accident. Shh, you're always beautiful to me. Yeah, that's better. With the character created, I jumped straight into the story. The storyline throughout the game is based around this guy here, El Sueño, head of the Santa Blanca drug cartel, and it's your job to take him down. That sounds familiar.
The story begins with you and your team being transported into Bolivia. This is a chance to meet some of the characters that you'll be working with.
The agent they murdered. You knew him?
He was a friend of mine.
Sorry for your loss.
Ah yes, I see what we have here. Who could forget Random Woman number 1 and Nameless Agents number 2, 3 and 4?
What remarkable characters. I hope none of them die in a freak accident.
It's not every day you get to meet an urban legend in the flesh.
Huh, you should tell that to my kid. Maybe he'd listen when I tell him to take the trash out.
What is this? I feel like I'm watching a film at the pace of Kubrick's Space Odyssey, except without the Kubrick. Game openings are meant to be fun and memorable for the player. Hell, if anything, they're the most important part of the game, as they need to get the player hooked and make them keep playing. This is just boring.
Half-Life 2, you explore the dystopian streets of City 17. Arkham Knight, you truly experience the threat that you are dealing with. Wildlands?
Ah, just chuck them in a helicopter for 2 minutes, fun for the whole family. Hell, even The Division had a more interesting and engaging opening than this.
And that's saying something.
Oh, and these characters? Yeah, well, I wouldn't worry about them, as they're about as memorable as they are interesting.
I got on board a bus in Hui, Argentina and drank all the way to Villazon. Nobody wants to deal with a drunk on the bus. That explains why you smell like ass.
You also proceed to meet the guy leading the revolution against the cartel, Pak Qatar.
With their help, you will lead hundreds of soldiers.
Are you familiar with the word hubris, Senora Bowman?
That's just rude.
Oh, come on! Even the main character's getting bored. He's just trying to avoid awkward eye contact as the leader just acts like an asshole. You just come into my country and try to fix all his problems and you think you deserve respect? Pfft, that died years ago.
With my wife and 3 children.
Once you are released into the world, you are immediately tasked with taking down the Santa Blanca lieutenant. But first, you gotta get there. 2.6 kilometers? Pfft, easy peasy. I'll just take one of these bikes here.
12 seconds later.
I regret everything! What is the driving in this game? I'm as split as I'm confused. The cars and vans drive great, whilst the bikes feel like they've been thrown onto ice in the Canadian winter.
Mr. Potato Reviews, I am mournful to hear of your distaste towards the motorcycles throughout the game. However, may I remind you that a game such as this is created to be realistic, henceforth pushing the fact that the bikes should indeed control like this.
And before anybody says anything about Ubisoft trying to be realistic, I have one word for you. Possibly 2, depends what you count it as. Video game. When I get a game and I drive a vehicle, I want to be able to use fun, controllable mechanics. I don't want to have flying off the cliff controls. Thank you very much.
Ooh, yeah, actually that's a good point. Let me just fix that.
I proceeded towards the mission zone in which began the first mission of the game, which acted as somewhat of a tutorial level for the gameplay mechanics. So I'm after this lieutenant, so I need to do this stealthily.
Got another tango.
I heard a Sicario over here. Inside.
For the most part, the stealth gameplay is actually quite fun. No sight of the target.
Only one thing to do then. Release the drone.
The drone is your eyes in the sky throughout the game, and is essentially an updated version of the Watch Dogs 2 drone, which is a welcome addition to the game. You can also use a mechanic called the sync shot, in which you can select targets for the members of your group to take down all at once, which is very satisfying. With all this, you can actually get a good stealth experience. That is, until you get spotted. We've been compromised! Grab the target! Information secured. Time to make a quick escape. Well now, That was quite something. I'm somewhat impressed, Ubisoft. So far you have a vast open world, at times fun gameplay, and seemingly plenty of missions in which to complete.
Do you perhaps think that you have been a little harsh on the game? And perhaps maybe, just maybe, you jumped to the conclusion that it would be flawed? Perhaps Ubisoft have turned over a fresh leaf, and are now becoming a better studio. No, stop that overused laughter sound effect. It isn't funny.
Oh, Potato, you trickster, you and your funny jokes. This is Ubisoft we're talking about here. They will inevitably mess up at some point. And that something becomes evident in true Ubisoft fashion after the first few missions. This is being due to the fact that as soon as the tutorial is complete, the game becomes a virtual version of chess. Don't understand? Well, put it like this. Want to get to these more interesting bad guys? Well, sucks to be you, my friend, because you have to grind through all of these smaller bosses before you can get to them. What, you thought the game would be fun and interesting the whole way through? Ha! What idiots! How do you do this, I hear you ask? Well, by simply completing a series of copy and paste side missions in which to find out your target's location, because we all really needed some more of that original Assassin's Creed goodness. The bosses themselves are extremely underwhelming too. Take the first two targets for example. Doctors turned the cartel's best torturers. Right, easy does it. Nice and quiet. Don't be seen. Oh, this is gonna be spectacular. Take them down stealthily. Make them pay for what... or just not give me the choice and go all-out gunfight. Oh, well, at least we may get an engaging boss battle. Oh. What? Was that it? All that work for just a couple of shots fired? Job done, well done, everybody. Head home, see you next Tuesday? For the most part, this is how most of the boss fights go throughout the game. You do in some cases get to decide what happens to them, but this essentially just comes down to let them live or die, which I've never seen in another video game before. Never. I continued on with my quest to complete this game, to see the light at the tunnel in which it possessed. Member after member, the cartel slowly fell. With each death, the team grew stronger with upgrades in which we earned. As the game progressed, it did become somewhat more fun, with more interesting characters and boss battles being introduced, ranging from the head of the Bolivian church, who is also the head influence of the cartel, to a deranged drug lord. But none, not one, comes even close to our good friend here, El Sueño. He is the final boss of the game, and is one of the most interesting things I find about the cartel. Although evil, he is a religious man, who worships death itself as a god. Yeah, charming. He even claimed to have heard death speaking to him in a dream.
In my dream, a woman's voice asked me,
Sueño, mijo, what if you had your own country?
Don't do it, El Sueño! I once listened to death in a dream. Gave me 3 broken bones and 7 stitches. Told me to become a drug lord. But did I? No, because I'm the bigger man. I don't listen to death.
That's not what I remember happening.
So hard, this is fair. We need to be here. So hard, since we here. It's only right that we be fair. I'm psycho. I'm lipo to go Michael. Take your pick. Texas. Sure done.
Liar.
What? Well, this is a bit gloomy, isn't it? With all this disappointment in what seemingly appeared to be a greatly promising game. But perhaps, could there be one shining element to this? Somewhere, deep down in the depths of the game. Hidden like a riddle amongst a sea of lies. Perhaps, so small it cannot be seen. Or as big as the big-ass open world we're given! Jungles, deserts, mountains, salt flats. It's all here presented throughout Ubisoft's biggest open world to date. And wow, is this map big because it's huge. So with all these factors taken into consideration, what's the final score? Does the game really redeem itself with a big open world? The short answer, no. Yes, you can have an excellent open world and some good gameplay mechanics, but you need good story and good characters to immerse yourself truly into this world. And the missions are just the same, time and time again, and have all been done before, just making the game not fun. And that is why I'm going to be giving this game 2 scores. In fact, I'm going to be giving everything from now on 2 scores. You see, You can enjoy a bad film, or you can enjoy a bad game, but you should still take all things into consideration and give a fair score. So that's why I'm going to be giving 2 scores. One base review, in which takes everything into consideration, gameplay, mechanics, world, and then one enjoyment review, on how much you actually enjoy the game. A good example's from Room. It's an awful film, but enjoyable? Yes.
I did not.
So take everything into account. There are at times good gameplay and excellent open world. I'm giving Wildlands a 6 out of 10. But enjoyment? I'm giving it a 5. It's just mediocre at best. So, thank you all for watching, and Josh. Well, last time I saw you was hunting for the life of Black Tiger, and we both know that turned out.
Times have changed. This is for you. Don't open it. We'll see each other again very, very soon.
Well, that wasn't sinister or mysterious at all. It was a good season opener, though.
Mr. Potato Reviews, I know you too well, old friend. I knew you would open this envelope, so listen well. Times are changing, and with it, a dark presence is approaching. Concerned, or perhaps curious? We believe you may be of help, but if you wish to know more, you must first pass our test. Inside the contents of this envelope is a game in which thoughts you would never touch again. Review it and prove to us you are willing.